Hey, welcome to another episode of the Roark Mix. And this week we had Elizabeth Inpyn on, and she is our first, I guess she's probably our first American to be on the show. I've known Elizabeth for about a decade now, and I met her through the world of triathlon. She is a nutritionist, an athlete, a coach, and a lover of music. So yeah, we had a good chat about all the music in her life, which is all the time. So here you go. Here's Elizabeth with Chris and myself.
Kind of get me going in the morning.
Yeah.
So my day literally starts with music playing, and I will end the day with some music, like beginning to end. There's music playing in my day. And so it gets me up, and then as I'm like, getting ready for the day or cooking or something, like there's music playing. When I'm training, there is music playing. When I'm driving in the car to various, like tonight I had strength training, there's music playing there. When I'm doing, it's all different. I am a lover of all types of music, all genres, all decades. And so it is like, I've often thought that I missed my calling. I should have been the person that does the music for television shows and movies. Like maybe in my second career, I will go back and do that, because I love to put music to moments. And it's just, if it's not playing, it's playing in my head. So today had all different kinds. I was in kind of it's hot here, and I was in kind of a country mood. So there was some country music playing today. There was like pumping myself up to go work out. So I had some of that kind of music on.
Yeah. And your source of the music, like, is it wake up in the morning and turn on the radio, or are you actually turning on Spotify, or are you actually popping in, like, you have a preset list?
I have a preset list. So I have one of those alarm apps that lets you decide what music you wake up to. So what you can have some on your phone. So I have a folder on my phone that's, like good morning, like there's a rap song that's like, good morning, get up. There's that one. There's like worship music sometimes in the morning that I'll listen to. If I know I go to bed late, I'll put on like one of my like faster pump kind of like race songs, because I know I'll like want to hit snooze and not get out of bed. So yeah. I know it's been long enough. I know what works. I know what's going to get me. Oh gosh, if I have to go to the pool at 4 a.m, it is always like, it's like the Chronic Dr. Dre. It's just because I know, like, I'm going to be happy when I hear that, and I'm going to get up and I'm going to go.
Well, but was the Chronic Dr. Dre when you were, was that university time for you when you were a collegiate swimmer, or does that actually trigger a moment for you? I guess what I'm getting at.
It triggers happiness. So I think it reminds me a lot of college. Now that you mention it, that's probably where that connection is, for sure. Like, it definitely came out before, but we listened to it all the time on the pool deck in Santa Barbara. It's definitely a memory from those times, for sure. That's a fun connection. I hadn't thought about it.
So you went to UCSB?
Yep.
I actually trained there. That is the most magnificent pool of all time.
Oh my gosh. It is the most magnificent place. I mean, it is beauty, and get to go to school and spend 4 years there was, I say, the best 4 years of my life, and I genuinely mean it. It was a wonderful experience for swimming, for education, for living in paradise.
Yeah. Well, when I was there, I laughed because of the fact I thought, good Lord, do these kids, when they enroll, all get a beach cruiser? Because every person on that campus had a freaking beach cruiser.
I honestly think it was in the freshman orientation packet.
Yeah, absolutely.
That, like, you need to bring a bike and it needs to be a beach cruiser, because I remember my parents and I going out and picking up a beach cruiser, and we went to like the farmer, like the Denio's like auction market, because they had told us, people are like, don't bring a nice bike. People are going to steal your bike. Bring like a second hand. And so we found a beach cruiser and like made it shiny and nice. And I remember taking that, and it did get stolen. So I think I went through 3 beach cruisers while I was there.
Chris, do you want to jump in at all?
Yeah. I mean, this is so great. You got me wondering something, and that is, from your musical day. It sounds like music generally occupies a whole lot of your background, which is just amazing. I want to know. I want to know about your oscillation. I want to know from the start of the day what the pace of your music is, and do you plan for a top end and a bottom end to complete a cycle for you? That's to say, are you starting off a little bit low and slow in the morning? Are you coming up to a full-on rager at some point during the day when you need it, and then are you bringing it back down at some point? Does the sound wave peak in the middle? Does it oscillate through a cycle where there are many peaks and valleys, or is it just you wake up and you're going hard on the top end across to the end of the day? This is what I need to know.
Yeah, it's a great question. I would say there are definitely peaks and valleys throughout the day. I start off, I don't know if you could call it hard, but it's definitely like upbeat when I start the day. Okay. I like to wake up, I'm a morning person. And so I like to wake up happy and excited to start my day. And I like the music to kind of match that. So there's definitely an upbeat, positive, like, I don't need slow. I'm not that person that's, says, don't talk to me till I get my coffee kind of a thing. I am up and like, good morning, which I think is because my mom, I remember as a kid, her coming down in the morning to like wake me up and singing like, oh gosh, I'm not going to try to sing this, like rise and shine and give God the glory. Like she would come in with this positive, like tune. And that was kind of, and like open the blinds and start like, let the sun shine in.
Oh my God. I don't know if I could take your mom in the morning. My goodness.
But that's the beauty of, right. I think that very much shaped the fact that you have to be in the pool at 4 a.m. enough, and you kind of learn to love the morning, I think. Yeah. And so, yeah, I think but I've had roommates in the past that don't like the morning. So I know I can read my audience. I know when I need to zip it and let everybody else settle into the day. But
that's a profoundly important quality. It's a good instinct to have.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah. So positive to start. And then if I have work to do, I like it to be like very like something that can just kind of go on in the background that isn't too distracting, something that I'm gonna like maybe hum to but not sing to, just kind of like some kind of beat in the background, which is why I used to love to work at Starbucks before COVID, because it was a mix of like music but also people's voices. So there was like noise and ambiance kind of around, but not, it was just in the background. Yeah. And then for workouts, there's definitely, so most days, triathlete life, there's something in the morning and then something in the afternoon or evening. So to do any kind of like swimming or biking or running, I like music that's gonna like, definitely that pumps me up. And then in the evenings for strength training, I like it a little more kind of hardcore, which I don't know if that's just because that's what my coach plays. And so that's what I associate with strength kind of music. But that's, I've seen the people you work out with, because you post this stuff on the Murph, and I'm like, there isn't a whole lot of Celine Dion playing there. That is like, you're going hard. No, there's absolutely no Celine Dion playing there. He jokes like, if you would like to pick the playlist, you can leave your money by the door, like your extra money. Otherwise, it's what he likes. And luckily, my coach's name is Josh. I call him my like rap music soulmate. The two of us are just ridiculously in sync. And so luckily I like the music that he plays. So people kind of often joke, like the two of us are over singing, and like connecting over music, and everyone's like, can we change this? Can we listen to something else? Anything? So I picked the right coach.
Indeed. Do you know what's interesting though is that, you come from such a strong swimming background, and you aren't listening to music while you swim, but then, lots of people on long bike rides have music. On long runs you do. And now with the strength training you've added in the last couple of years, that is going to be, it's going to be banging most of the time. I'm curious, was it weird from you coming from a swimming background to actually add music to your program as you train?
Yes. So I know now there are, fancy pools that can play music underwater, and people have the headphones, which I actually tried for the very first time, like a month or so ago, that you can listen but I'm very old school. So swimming is like the silent, peaceful place for me. And so transitioning from silence while exercising, like, I think it turned me almost into a different athlete. It connected with a different piece of myself. So when I swam before, and the silence of the pool, there was always like a focus, and quite possibly I didn't know that I could get motivated to perform athletically, but with music. I mean, we always had, like, you would listen to something. I mean, we've all seen Michael Phelps with his headphones on. Like, I at least had that. I mean, I had a Walkman that, going up to the blocks. I'm old. So we would play music beforehand, but not during, and especially not during training. So when I switched and started running after college, it kind of touched on this whole new, like, wow, like exercising while having music, there's so much more to it. There's another level within me that only music can hit.
Yeah.
So yeah, it definitely, I would say it changed the game. I wonder now what kind of a swimmer would I have been if I had music playing the whole time, because it definitely motivates me.
But that's a different flow state, because we were talking, we've talked to Rach, a previous guest, about flow states, about getting to that place where it's like very zen, and you're out of your body almost, and you get that through swimming, through that whole metronome thing, and feeling the water and just that whole pace. But does music play a big factor in helping you get to that place, especially when you run, because you do some long runs?
Absolutely, positively. I can do things like run harder, run longer, stronger, push past a point of exhaustion when I have music playing. I'm a different athlete, admittedly, when I have music playing. And I know what, like, inside of me, what different songs are going to spark. And so being able to, like, tap into that, I am not that person that runs without music. And I know that, there are people that just think that's just horrid. Like, you should be, even on the trails, I listen to country music because it makes me happy, and trail running is just fun and free. But when I'm doing serious training on the road or on a treadmill, it's like hardcore music playing, and it is just, I have songs that I like, and kind of like I said in the email to you, like, there are songs that bring up memories of races, of emotions, of every kind of different feeling that I channel into my running, especially.
Yeah. Chris?
Yeah, I'll take this one off piste a little bit. And it's a nutrition related music question.
Okay. This is a first. I like it.
So there's 1,000 songs about in all of the musical vernacular about the relationship of alcohol and music, booze and music.
Yes.
They are inseparable animals. Why is there no music that relates to nutritionally whole foods and music? What's the gap? I mean, why is there no kale and kombucha rock and roll music? Why are leafy greens exempt from the rock and roll songbook? I mean, I need to know why there's a boozy seduction, but there's not a
Right.
foodie seduction. Can you explain this to me?
Well, I would
Not to put
argue
you
that
on the spot.
there are songs that are definitely seductive, food, kitchen, like cooking, mealtime, like, you know, meal by candlelight music.
Mhm.
Asking that of a vegetable or a leafy green is really, I think, stepping outside of that food group's capability, right? I think we associate alcohol with a good time and music with a good time. Most of us do not associate a big salad with like the highlight moments, impassioned moments, the private moments of our life. Like the salad doesn't come to mind. A turnip, a zucchini, you know,
A turnip
mushrooms.
cannot be mentioned in this conversation. So what you're saying is that let's just pick one off the top of my head. So George Thorogood's one bourbon, one scotch, one beer.
Right.
Under no circumstances, in your opinion, could it work or be viable for there to be something? And I'm not talking about an educational tool. I'm talking about a real sexy throwdown that involves food that won't kill you. Is it possible? I don't know. I'm curious.
I don't know. And now I'm trying to think. There has to be a song somewhere like that. There has to be a mention of a vegetable or a fruit or something somewhere, right? I mean,
well, I think on the Dr. Dre album, there was a song that had something in juice, gin and juice. So I got the juice part.
Okay. I think it's a different kind of juice.
I
don't think this is the kind that goes through a machine and extracts. Right. I think it's a different form of juice. It's not the.
I was trying to give Elizabeth her out. I was like,
I know. Beyonce had a lemonade album. I mean, depending on how you make that, there's something, I think right?
And Lizzo had
moving the ball in the right direction for me.
Yeah,
I think you're doing a fine job. And the reason I asked was I thought that if there was anyone on the planet who would know, it would be you.
Yeah. No, other than possibly a Snoop song about a plant, depending on how you, if you consider that. I mean, CBD is really making its entry into the athlete community. So
and non-athlete community.
Yeah, that too. So depending on where you stand on that, there's many a tune. But I think.
So you led with the fact with your statement that you're not a musician. I think you set yourself up for a great opportunity to write your first great song.
What would we call that? The eggplant, the apple, and the head of lettuce. I don't even know. Like, I don't even know how I would.
I think it would have to be carrot, apple, kiwi, something that's just got a real
something
you know
catchy.
what I mean? So, okay, I'll let Brad move on because I can hang a whole hour on my bizarre fixation on this. So,
hey, Elizabeth, you talked about having strong associations, a song, strong association. If you can think of, growing up in your household, what was some of the music and what were some of the strong associations there? And then, other pivotal times in your life, was there a moment in high school where you're like, gosh, that song takes you back? And maybe college swimming, what are some of those songs you're like, as soon as I hear that song, I go right to that place?
This is probably the Pandora's box of questions for me, because honest to gosh, almost every moment, and I know that's probably a little bit of exaggeration, but I can think of a song can come up and I can think of the moment that I first heard that song, or the moment that I was like, my life moments are associated with songs. So growing up, my dad loved oldies. And so there were always oldies playing. I remember like he had a truck, like sitting in his truck next to him in the front seat and just windows down, singing oldies. My mom loved Elvis. So I remember, like singing Elvis songs. She really loved Billy Joel. I remember like sitting in a room painting, or she was painting and I was, sitting next to her listening to Billy Joel, like Uptown Girl. And so all throughout, I mean, American Pie
Don McLean,
was one that we listened to as a family on our road trips to San Diego twice a year. So as a child, I definitely think my parents did an excellent job of like having music around and just always singing. I mean, a song comes on and my dad will to this day like grab me and start dancing around the kitchen. We'll still be in the car together. Like I made him a Spotify playlist with all of our favorite oldies on it. So those, I would say, which I'm glad that was the musical influence that I started with, because I still have such an appreciation. Like Sam Cooke is one of my all-time favorite artists, musicians. From the gospel to the secular music, and that's because I was exposed to this kind of music, growing up. And then once I got to kind of find my own, I remember going to, it was called Dimple Records, and buying the Beastie Boys, Ill Communication, like the cassette tape, and playing that for myself. And the summer that I turned 16, the cassette single, Regulate by Nate Dogg and Warren G. Like I had that little thing on repeat all summer long, because I was like free and driving everywhere.
You have switched gears so many times, from going from like, loving, your family and Billy Joel, and then ending up with Snoop Dogg, that type of stuff, and Warren G, and that's hilarious.
Oh gosh. I mean, and country music. And I would say the only genre that I don't care for is like the electronic, like emo kind of tech music. Yeah. But when I say I love all kinds of music, I mean, folk music, I love it. I love like classical music. I can listen to that when I'm trying to study and learn new things. So yes. And then moments, there's always just a piece of me in all different kinds of songs and all different kinds of moments. And like going to college, when I went on a recruiting trip to Santa Barbara, Sublime was playing in someone's garage. So that's, I associate that with being there. Like 311, I associate with going to our, NCAA finals my freshman year, because, Dan, one of the other long distance swimmers, was playing that and he got to pick. The Indigo Girls, like Galileo, and the Swampophilia album was one that two of my roommates at Santa Barbara loved, and we went to see them and Van Morrison at a concert. And so that's, a memory of Santa Barbara. Like, and
was Van Morrison any good? Because Chris has seen Van Morrison a number of times and he has not had a good experience, because Van Morrison was a little too deep in the bottle at the time.
I was going to say, he was drunk. He was pretty drunk. It was not the Van Morrison I was expecting. So
it's never the Van Morrison that anyone's expecting. I think that some artists should commit themselves to studio work only, and Van Morrison is among them.
Okay, so can I ask you, who's one that you think should always play live that is just fantastic in concert?
Oh, you are asking the right guy, because Chris goes to 3 shows a week. So I'm just gonna sit back. I'm gonna go for a walk.
So yes. That's great, because this is interesting. I would say I would say Jeff Tweedy of Wilco
Ooh.
is a better performer live, I think. I would say, I mean, I'd probably get a little bit too much on the theater obscure side for that, but oh boy, I mean, where do we even begin? The live performance for me is so much more important than the recorded performance. And I know that, and I completely understand that the inverse is so true for other people, which is perfectly fine. I get it. I think that there's a litany of artists that I could probably provide you with it that I think are far better suited to the live performance. But I think this could be a 3-hour talk.
Okay. Well,
and I won't hold you hostage with because I'll just get wound up and I won't shut up, and you'll be really wanting to ask Brad how the heck he got me on his show.
We'll just do a non-recorded part 2 with an alcoholic beverage in our hand, and we can discuss live shows, because I too am a fan of live music.
I'm sitting next to my distillery of kombucha. I'm trying to impress you.
Yeah,
but
very nice.
It's separated. It's looking good, but yes, a drink would be fine. But you ask fascinating questions. You and Brad should have this show. I should have nothing to do with this.
Oh, I think the Three Amigos. I think this is we are not taking you out of this loop. You are an essential component here.
Hey, speaking of concerts, then, what was your first, or what was the best concert that you went to that you're like, oh, wow, I love live shows?
So first and best are two very different things. Although, first that I think that I kind of like got to choose, because living in Sacramento, they have the state fair every year. And so we would go, and I think, whatever bands play, I honestly don't remember. So I'm sure I saw some there, but one that I remember going to was the Straight Outta Compton NWA tour. It had Naughty by Nature, Public Enemy, maybe not Naughty by Nature. That might have been a different one. So that rap,
that would be cool.
It was,
jeez.
And
awesome.
it was a really neat experience for sure.
Was it extremely intense? Was it actually fun, or were you just like, whoa, what's going on here?
No, it was fun, but I was young, and it was a different experience. I came from we had to go down to Oakland, and Oakland at that time is not the Oakland that it is today. So safety was definitely a concern. I was the minority by far. And so so it was as equally eye-opening as it was as awesome as the music was. And I was a very naive child. I did not know people were getting high around me. I did not know people were drunk. I just was, thought everybody was happy, and there were some interesting smells, and, I just was so excited to hear the music and, be a part of it. So looking back now, I'm thinking, my gosh, what did I do?
And did you get accidentally high? Off secondhand? My God.
I'm gonna say no, because I feel I know my mom is gonna watch this. It was not intentional. It was definitely not intentional, but there was probably a lot of that around. And then, gosh, best concert. I'm a woman, so it is my prerogative to choose two. This is what we do. We don't like to be put into to make a decision.
You are allowed.
I would say one that holds a very special place in my heart was it was a Jason Mraz concert. And I was going through a phase, but it was also the man that I was dating at the time. It was just such a special, magical time in my life. And the concert was, gosh, from New York, like Long Island. There's a concert venue out there that's like on the beach. And we had front row seats. It was a surprise. I didn't know we were going. And so it was Jason Mraz and Brett Dennen, who's like one of my all-time favorites. And it was just the whole experience. Like we had like VIP passes, and it was just, the concert was fun. And just a really neat experience. So I think emotionally, that's one that's pretty special. But in terms of like just a fun, I'm going to go with 3. AC/DC was really fun. My brother and a friend of ours went, and it was just a great, like, the crowd was hilarious. The AC/DC, I mean, you can't not love all of their songs. So it was, one hit after the next. And it was just a different, like, it was just fun. My brother doesn't go to a lot of concerts, and so it was fun to have him there with me. But I would say the Police at the Oakland Coliseum was a really awesome, like, they're one that I would rather listen to live than listen to as an album, just because of the performance. So
yeah. Do you remember the tour? Like, where were they out in their career?
This was 2006, maybe 5.
Okay. So they got back together to
yes,
together to cash a few checks, which I don't blame them for.
I think they call it like the synchronicity tour. Anyway, so yeah, not the early heyday by any means, but still, I mean, Sting
I caught it here.
Yeah.
You're right. It was tight. It was good. You're 100% bang on, and it was every bit the way they were in the 80s anyway. I think.
Oh, okay.
So
good.
You didn't miss any. They managed to get along without pulling out the knives, or at least Copeland and Sting did for as long as I would imagine that the American leg of the tour was early. We may have got the end part where they weren't getting on, but no, you're 100% right. That they did it up right, and unlike a lot of other ego-driven bands, Police are definitely one. They didn't go into the deep bag of the obscurities. They just threw it down nonstop. It was so totally enjoyable.
That's fun that we shared that. That's neat. That's a nice joint experience.
Well, I don't think you can mention a band in concert and Chris has not seen them. So that was easy pickings for sure.
Wow.
Oh,
okay. That's good to know.
That's the telltale of my misspent youth and adulthood.
Hey, who is the person or group that you would most like to see? And I'm talking, you could time travel. You go back in time when they're still together, still alive. Who would you most like to see?
It's funny that you ask. This is something that I ask all of my friends. Like, it's one of those dinner conversation questions, because I have thought about this before. Obviously, I think the Beatles are one that, just to say that you saw the Beatles would be a pretty cool experience. Elvis, I would have loved to see. Johnny Cash, the Doors, and not because I'm a huge Doors fan. I just feel like that's one that, like, I would like to say that I experienced that element. Aerosmith, I never saw Aerosmith. I think that would have been fun. Gosh, I've asked and listened to so many different. I've never seen Wu-Tang. I would have liked to have. That would have been one.
I'm really hoping you're going to say Beastie Boys.
I saw Beastie Boys.
Oh, so, you did see. Okay.
So yes. And I'm a Beastie Boys fan through and through. I was gonna say I think I've seen them 3 times, but only twice.
Now the world has opened up for you in California, right? So there's shows happening right now.
Well, I'm close to Nevada, and Nevada pretty much anything goes. So we are getting, there will be a couple country music concerts, like Eric Church, oh gosh, Florida Georgia Line is coming, Sam Hunt. So I'm getting in on some of those. Willie Nelson is doing like a old something tour, but the Abbott brothers are playing and they're a favorite of mine. So I'm going to go just so I can see them. Gosh, Zach Brown Band will be coming back around, Chris Stapleton. So I think the country music guys are all back. I don't know yet that, which I don't, politically that doesn't surprise me.
No, their fans are good to go all 24/7.
Yeah. So gosh, hopefully more of the other genres will jump back in here, because I've missed. It's funny, the things that you take for granted when you have them, and travel and live music are the two that after that year I went, I really, really miss these two things. And often those two were interconnected for me. Like I would travel to a concert, if you're going to see country music, try to get to Nashville, right? Like that's a fun, if you're going to, so combining those two was always something I thoroughly loved, but took for granted.
Yeah, absolutely. I most certainly did. I know Chris would still, like before COVID, he would go to 3 shows a week living in Toronto. That's just his program. And for me, I was always like, well, I'll see it some other time. But I know that Chris is just dying to see shows.
Yeah.
Chris, are you into music? I mean, do big names come, or would you go to any show just to hear live music? Like,
no, I absolutely purposefully do not see big name bands. Because I'm in a neighborhood with a particular medium-sized venue that's a huge draw for great acts that aren't stadium acts, and club acts are certainly my favorite. 300 people or less is probably my favorite venue.
How nice.
And by virtue of seeing so many, because it's sort of my thing, and I mean, my kids are grown now, but it wasn't uncommon to do the homework, do the dinner, do the bed, do the bath, and then go and see a show. And living in downtown Toronto is superb, because I can see a show, and after the last note is played, I have my head on the pillow at 1 o'clock in the morning, which is great. Wow. There's no travel required. And literally the Danforth Music Hall, which is a terrific venue, is not even a 10-minute walk from my front door. So it's a dynamic part of town that suffered so much with the current conditions. So it's just been crazy. But by virtue of seeing so many acts, I've got to see the initial vapor trail before bands got big. And that has been a great pleasure for me, a singular pleasure. Seeing Red Hot Chili Peppers in a medium-sized venue in the 80s was terrific, and with all the power and passion that never really translates 20 years downstream, but seeing bands, doing your research, finding out who's sort of up and coming, but more importantly, just walking in and discovering something quite by accident, the serendipity of connecting to a band. And I discovered a band quite by accident called the Thermals, which I love. They sort of oscillate between being together and not. Absolutely one of my favorite bands of my life. And I was just, I think I'll just go in here and check out this band. I never heard of them. And I was, you have that moment where you are, this wall of sound sucks you into a vortex, and you just don't let go. It's magic. And Toronto was great at that. The city is losing musical venues really at such an alarming rate, and COVID has probably accelerated that horrible process to a degree where when it ends here, and trust me, we're still in lockdown. I think the washout is going to be horrible for independent music in the city of Toronto.
That's awful.
Because stadium shows don't do it for me. The predictability of stadium shows don't do it for me. And I think
Oh,
that's it. I mean, it's a ride at Disney. They start predictably and they end predictably, mostly due to big stadium laws, and that's fine. The set lists are, but so much can go wrong in a small venue, and so much can go wrong within the fabric of a band at a small venue. I look for that type of situation. I look for the tension. So
oh, okay.
there's a lot of tension in small bands, small
I'm
venues.
quite sure. Yes, yes.
Hey,
But
Chris,
let's not make this about me.
I'm not going to take up too much more of Elizabeth's time. I know she's got to crash soon, but do you have any more questions? Because I just have the last question of mine.
I just have one, and what I'm trying to do is tie some ends together, because I think
Okay.
you've got such a great story. Is there a particular song that you loved in your youth? And I think we'll go past childhood, because I appreciate that you were influenced, and you're so lucky to have parents who like cool music.
Yeah,
That's awesome.
I agree.
I mean,
I
you had,
absolutely agree.
like, so good. But I'd like to know if there's a particular band or song that connects you from say your early teens, a song you absolutely loved. Is there that song that exists that you still is a go-to? Because when we started, you said that music takes you to a time and place. But I wonder if there's a connection song or band that just takes, that moves you, that has stayed your favorite, not your favorite, but has stayed important to you all through the years.
Oh, that is such a great question. It's hard.
I could simplify it by asking, and I don't mean, because it is I think it's a hard question.
Yeah.
Is there a song that has continually brought you joy through multiple decades of life?
I almost want to choose a Van Morrison song just because he was our drunk.
There's nothing wrong with that if it brings you joy.
I was just trying to be, like, kind of stick it in there.
I guarantee it didn't bring you joy when it was played live.
I'm sure. No, days like this. No, not. So I think just one of the first ones that came to mind was Wide Open Spaces from the Dixie Chicks. And it's because it was, gosh, I almost get sad thinking about it, or emotional. So I didn't take a car to college my freshman year. My sophomore year, my parents, I think gave me their car, one of their cars, to take back with me. And it was I don't know, driving the speed limit, probably a 7.5-hour drive back to Santa Barbara.
Wow.
And that would have, I think at that time, been the longest, kind of road trip by myself. And my mom, as I was getting in the car, handed me the Dixie Chicks Wide Open Spaces CD. And she had heard the song on the radio, and she kind of like put it in. Oh gosh, I didn't think I would cry about this. This is really special.
This is my
special
fault.
Memory.
I did this to you.
You did.
Women generally make me cry.
Yeah.
This is really weird.
She handed it to me and said, I don't remember now if it was I think it's track number 2 is Wide Open Spaces. And she said, very clearly, like, my daughter, my hope and my dream for you is to go and experience this world and love every minute of it. And it is ahead of you, and you are, just driving off kind of like into the world as a woman that, like, we've given you everything that we can, and you're on your own. And I listened to that CD and that song, and I'm very close with my family. So driving away, I felt this like, oh, I'm going to miss my, it was kind of like a separation moment. Mm-hmm. But then also this moment of kind of stepping into my own. And so that song, and even that whole CD, can play. And I am equal parts grateful that I had a family that raised me to be able to go out into the world and be the person that I am. but also very sad and nostalgic for the life that I had before as a young girl to then that transition as a woman. And then even now, like watching my nieces grow up and thinking, my gosh, someday I'm, we'll be seeing them go off into the world and the beautiful, scary, awesome kind of challenge that life is. So,
and you'll know what CD to give them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my. Wow. This is the first time we had anyone cry on the show.
Oh my gosh.
No. Jock Climbey cried.
Oh, for goodness sakes. We have to think of it to end it a different way. I can't be the only person crying on here. I mean,
okay.
I'm trying to think if there's some, my karaoke song. Can we do so?
Yes. What's your karaoke song?
It is always rap music, and it is almost always like some kind of, totally inappropriate, like Freaks of the Industry from Digital Underground or Ain't No Fun. I mean, like something absolutely not appropriate, because you see, tall, blonde, blue-eyed white girl go up and grab the mic, and 99% of people are expecting, a rendition of any number of like Celine Dion songs, Whitney Houston, Mariah Carey, anything along that genre. And so it is always inappropriate rap music. And I think it's also because I can't sing. I mean, God did not give me the voice of an angel, despite the fact that I ask for that every day of my life. I don't actually have to sing and perform. I can dance and rap. And so if we ever have the pleasure, the three of us, of going to karaoke when things open up again, you have now what I will be rapping.
Well, we're on the same page, because this is what was spinning on my turntable just 20 minutes before we spoke. So
so good.
And our producers didn't give me any background information on you, so this is all full on true.
It was meant to be. That Public Enemy record is good.
There you go.
Good. Yeah,
this has been so much fun, because I think this is, if we had a title for this show, it would be the story of 90-degree turns. We go from Billy Joel to Beastie Boys, and then we just went from Dixie Chicks making you cry, and then just throwing it down hard at karaoke.
There's a lot of right angles.
There's a lot of right angles. Elizabeth, I bet your arm is really tired from holding that phone.
Yes.
Hey, I balanced it on the knee just fine. I just really enjoyed this time with you guys. This was a lot of fun. Thank you for triggering some really happy memories.
Hey, so the last question of the show.
Yeah.
The whole idea is to make you a mixtape. What kind of, and you have given us so much ammunition.
Good. This is either going to be the easiest or the most difficult mixtape you have ever had to make, because I mean, you could probably just put shuffle on, but I have a feeling that you two will deliver some of the best music and the best compilation that I have ever heard.
Well, is there any mood or any situation you're like, gosh, I kind of have a void in this part of my life for music that I can't quite figure out what the mixtape is, and I want them to make it? Or is there any rules whatsoever?
There are absolutely no rules. There is nothing is off the table, no off limits, with the exception of the techno, and lyrically, I like to be able to understand, to be able to sing or understand or rap the words, but I mean, Joyner Lucas, his new album is fantastic. So it's lyrically, if there's something behind it, I'm going to like it. So you are, there's no, and I would say I don't need, I have plenty of like mixes to work out to, plenty of like road trip playlists. So this could just be a day in the life, like start to finish, wake up to go to sleep. Could be, yeah, that would be the challenge. So you have to hit all the things. You have to hit waking me up. You have to hit like some, work, 2 workouts.
I'm liking this.
I love music when I cook. I mean, my gosh, Frank Sinatra when you're cooking is just about as good as it gets. So, and then to bed. Something calming to bed. Good luck, gentlemen.
Chris, this is going to be our first 120 song playlist.
I was going to say, you really teed up lots of opportunity for us to make good on your wishes. So this is terrific.
Well, Elizabeth, you are our first American on our little podcast. You've broken down the doors.
Oh my gosh.
Let it happen. I love it. Well, my friend,
I love it.
This has been a lot of fun. This is like when you first responded, I said, she's got a musical story. This is going to be good. And you threw it down. I love it. Thank you. And we've got our work cut out for us.
I thoroughly enjoyed spending the evening with you two. It was, you can tell that you know and love music, but also I just want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to express how important music is to me. And it was a fun, I will do this again with you regardless of recording, just because it was enjoyable to spend an hour with you two.
Part 2. That's the best thing. All right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you. We'll see you.
It was nice to meet you, Elizabeth. Take care.
It was wonderful to meet you. Have a great night, guys.
Bye-bye.
All right. So the task is to, Elizabeth actually gave us a lot of rope here. Make any list we want, but we decided to kind of pick times of the day, like waking up and then driving to the pool, after pool, as if she was going to do maybe a pool workout, do some work, and then maybe a CrossFit session and make dinner, and then wrap it up in the evening. So that's kind of what we had in mind with making this mixtape for Elizabeth. So here's our attempt to make an awesome playlist, and hopefully she enjoys it. I remember when we first started doing the music for this, because I think that night or the next day, you and I were throwing back ideas of more silly songs. Like I started with I didn't put it on this, but you sure as hell went with a good one. The song. Hey, one of my favorite films is The Wonder Boys. No one's seen it. I love it. Michael Douglas, Frances McDormand, young Tobey Maguire, Katie Holmes, Robert Downey Jr. He was in jail. They sprung him from jail to film his scenes. Fucking love that film. But in that film is that Good Morning song that I sent to you. And when Tobey Maguire's, it was all fucked up. He gets high and he's singing that. And that song is on when Michael Douglas is trying to track down his wife. Oh, what an amazing film. But I didn't put that in, but I'm going to put the video on the website. Just,
perfect.
Why the hell not? Because because you have to start this, because your song, the video, there's no Spotify for this, but the video is going on the website. Where did you find it? How did this come to be? When was the first time you heard this? I need to know everything about your pick.
About Toast?
Toast.
Okay.
By the street band.
Yeah. So the great radio host based in Toronto now, maybe Hamilton now, Alan Cross. I don't know. Were you familiar with the ongoing history of new music?
Yes, and I've listened to Alan Cross. Yeah. Smart cookie.
So love Alan Cross. He was my savior when I was commuting between Ottawa and Toronto for work, and Ottawa Kingston for work. The late night programming was great, and Alan Cross did a show in the early 80s, and it was on CFNY, I think, and he did a rarities, and he would come up with the craziest rare songs, and Toast was on his list, and it made absolutely no sense that it came out of complete nowhere. But the hook to this is toast is it's just such a typical English type of situation. It paints a picture of an English life for sure. But the crazy ass thing about that is that super successful later UK crooner Paul Young was the singer in that band. Do you remember Paul Young?
Okay, I watched the video. I didn't pick that out.
Paul Young.
Was he in that video? Was he in that video?
Yeah, I think he had a different haircut than he had in 83 and 84 or the 3 months where he was popular.
Yeah, because he had good hair at that time.
Yeah, I never got Paul Young, and when I made the connection that he was in Street Band, and it is a ridiculous song. It's and I really do have a soft spot for one hit wonders. I do, like, it's so fucked up.
And this was a hit for them?
No.
Okay. Because you said one hit wonder.
Oh, I know. It was their one moderately recognizable song as opposed to a hit. I think it got some radio play in the UK. And,
it must have, yeah.
But, the UK certainly wasn't widely known for, I mean, that song was released in 1978. So the UK was not known for novelty acts. I mean, Python ate up all the appetite for novelty.
And Benny Hill.
And Benny Hill.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
I'm surprised not to see him in that video, actually.
Yeah, it was that silly. And I can tell you that this was a difficult task for me to piece together music because it's probably the one guest we've had where I had 100% of nothing in common. I don't swim a lot of laps at 5 a.m. I don't know if you knew that about me. And while I like to eat healthy,
Elizabeth loves music, so that's
no question. And I was able to jump on, and I think I steered the truck towards a little CanCon because I got a sense that she could use a little bit of that. I think my list proves that out. And it was something I thought, wow, just meeting her as we did on the show, I thought, I think she'd dig this song. I just think there's an energy that and I think the main thing for me was I don't think that she's probably heard a lot of these. And she gave us carte blanche.
Yeah, she did. And you're right. And when I was in doubt, I went CanCon. Like I gave her Canada too. Absolutely, I love it. And you know what? So this is and I think we both followed kind of the same progression because she said throughout the day, like make us a list that will work throughout the day. So you have toast. I went with Aquarius, Let the Sun Shine In. And it's a happy song, and it starts like all dreamy and almost like druggy, and then it kicks into super fun. And it's kind of a good song, even though she says she jumps out of bed and is super happy. Everyone needs a little progression, like as they're brushing their teeth, maybe to get happy. But yeah, these are our wake up songs for her. She gets to Let the Sun Shine In. She gets Toast, but here we go with Brad's research.
Yes, please.
This song came about because one of the band members left his wallet in a New York City cab, and for some reason it got returned to a theater, and it was found by one of the members in Hair, the play Hair at the time, the musical Hair, and they contacted this guy, and then they're like, oh, you're in a band, come watch the show, and they came up with this song. They took a couple words out of a previous song and ran with the song. So it's from a good deed in New York City back in the day.
Hey, you know what? That's got great pedigree. I love it.
Yeah, and you have to watch the video. It will be on the website. Okay. It is straight like if I woke up, like if I nodded off and the video was on, I would go, am I watching the Big Lebowski? It's a Big Lebowski dream scene, which most of my references are Big Lebowski, so it's no big surprise.
Sure.
But nonetheless, so that's that's our wake up songs, and yeah, what's so I and then I'll do this because this is my progression. I
Please.
have her driving to the pool. It's a swim day, you know. So she's had her wake up. Now she drives to the pool. Probably one of those athletes that doesn't even eat before she gets, well, obviously most people don't eat before they go swimming, but the pool to her, because she used to be a like collegiate, like high level collegiate swimmer to swim at, you know, Santa Barbara. Jesus, that's a kick-ass school. So I picked Church by Sam Henshaw because the pool is her church, you know, no doubt about it. That's where her happy place is. And even she said that music's not even really involved, maybe on the pool deck before a race or maybe the headphones. But once you're in that water, this is your church. And I don't know, it just made sense. And plus, you know, she's our most religious character, a guest on the show for sure. So I think she would like the church references. And this guy came by honestly. His dad was a pastor. He sang in the choir, and now he's got this going on. So there you go. That's I got her out of bed. I got her to the pool.
And you worked a little baptism imagery in there too.
Most certainly.
St. John would be very proud.
Yes. Yeah. So there you go. I don't know. The wake up was easy for me. Just I actually heard this on the radio. I was probably listening to CBC. I was like, oh, that's it right there. So these first couple were easy.
I needed to with the oscillation of the day, and it kind of sounds to me like this is a pedal to the metal day every day. So I had to keep the pace.
You did.
So let's say out of the pool and back in the car, I went with Blood in the Cup because I love Kay Flay. Christine Flaherty is just so cool, and it's a killer track. It's a great song.
Yeah.
Super song. She does some very cool vocalizations in her other work, but this one is a ballsy song. It's an in your face, full upfront blood pumper that I'm suspecting is sort of tease up the rest of the day, let's say. So I needed something that was gonna get into gear quickly.
Well, you most certainly did.
This is an individual I think doesn't spend a lot of time in first and second gear. It's sort of a let's get this day going, and you know.
I bet you on some days jump from the pool and right into like biking or something like that. So you got that covered. And Kay Flay, she's a charger. Like, yeah, she's got some. I wouldn't say like. You know, when you say someone has lots of energy, it's like, oh, they're all over the place. It's like she has like that deep energy where it's like, oh, she's not messing around, you know. And she sings, and it's like, there's gravitas to it, you know.
There is gravitas. She went to Stanford.
Yeah, I know, and she got her start.
Yeah,
she was listening to some rap or something because she did a lot of rap early on.
Oh, absolutely,
And she was apparently sitting around with some friends, and she's like, I can do better than this. And that's how she started. She wasn't musically trained. She's like, yeah, I think I got this.
Damn. But
I wish one of those times I said that and tried
I know,
that
exactly.
Worked out.
Yeah. Magic genie. Poof.
Well, you know, I kind of, you know, I have a little inside information because the fact that I know that Elizabeth doesn't just train 24/7, that she actually has a business. Like she handles nutrition plans for a lot of people, right? So I thought, you know, after the pool, she probably takes a break but gets some work done. So I went with a driving song on the way from the pool to Starbucks because she likes the white noise of Starbucks and hanging out there and doing some work. So I went with and I just bought tickets for them for February 22nd.
I saw
the drive-by truckers.
Mm-hmm.
And
drive-by truckers, great.
Yeah, first air of autumn. So yeah, yeah, it was a ticket buying day today. So I've got my January and February lined up. And you know, these guys are. Whenever I see anyone who's spent any time in Muscle Shoals, your eyes open up. And these guys are from that area, and they had your buddy Jason Isbell in the band for 1 or 2 years. Yeah, and then I believe there was a drinking incident or something. You know, and,
these things happen.
These do. That's So, but you know, and the lyrics of first air of autumn up your nose, popcorn, heavy hairspray, nylon pantyhose. Come on. Yeah. That's a good song to mellow it to.
Yeah. So great, a superb live act. We caught them with a few friends years ago at the Phoenix here in Toronto, and it was just a superb show.
Yeah, that's what my musical guru Tim McDermott, who I've mentioned before, he made it very clear to me that I should be getting tickets to these guys because they're so good live. Yeah.
You won't be disappointed.
Right on. Where are you going?
Here's an oldie goldie, but it's I would say that this is a gear down, to be fair. Just to we're it's a racehorse. We're pacing the day a little bit. I went with Roxy's "Love's the Drug." It's an oldie from 1975 off the Siren LP, but a great drive. I've always loved this song. I'm not even a huge Roxy music fan.
It's their best song of all time,
and love it. I mean, you'll probably get into an argument about people who love Avalon too. I mean, there's no. There's here and there, but I got to tell you, I'd say it's a good 10:30 a.m. song. It's not super challenging. You know what it is. No. You know where it's going. You know where it's taking you. You've been there many, many times, but I think this is the comfort food of morning songs. We're not at lunch yet.
No, we aren't at lunch. I think it could do double time as like a 7:30, 7:45 song if you're like, you're kind of setting the mood for someone who you might hook up with. It's like you kind of, give that look. It's like, just putting it out there.
Okay.
Yeah.
We live in different worlds.
No, not a lot of, I live in a Walter Mitty world, and you live in the real world.
It's not a lot of putting it out there in COVID Toronto.
The actual video that I'm going to put online is one that Brian Ferry does recently of this song, and it holds up perfectly well. Like he sings it a little differently than before, but fantastic. So yeah, this has stood the test of time, and it works well for him still, which is great. I went with her local friend when she was at university, would have been Tom Petty, because he lived in Santa Barbara, his studio there. I'm not sure if that's the place that burnt down, but it might have been. But Wildflowers, and it's a beautiful song, like such a beautiful song. It's a beautiful video too. But he just went in the studio. Wildflowers are all around, like he had a huge expansive backlog. And he wrote this in one take. He worked on an 8-track or something like that. He pushed record, did it in one take, done with it, listened to it later. He said, I'm not changing a thing. Magic.
When it happens, it happens.
It does, yeah. And I think I told you before that there was in the biography or something, his kids were asked something about his creative process, and it was like, yeah, unless the place was burning down, we weren't allowed to go in the back shed. And I don't think he was home when the place burnt down. So
sure.
But I'm bummed I never got to see him, because he rolled around a year before he left us too early. And it was one of those where I think pre-COVID, where you're like, I'll have another time to see him.
Sure.
I'll get him next time around. And I've mentioned before to you is that I'm not making that mistake again. Like you're going to see many shows a month, but I'm most certainly going to see a show or two per month, going forward, because they want to entertain us. So I'm going to take it all in.
Yeah, the tragedy of Tom Petty's ending is just, it's just so sad. Pushing yourself through a tour, on painkillers, being so committed to your craft, so committed to the fans, that it ultimately, led to the end, was just terrible.
Yeah.
He had a lot of gas left in the tank.
That's what I thought. Did you see that Netflix 3-hour documentary on him?
Yeah.
That was a long one, but
yeah.
It took me I cut it into two, but Tallahassee, Florida kid, just said, I'm going to California. I love it. Amazing.
Well, I love Damn the Torpedo, start to finish. That is just such a terrific. I need to toss in a disclaimer. I cannot stand the song Free Falling.
I think you've mentioned that before.
I fucking hate it.
That came at a time though.
God bless Tom Petty, but fuck, it's just that song is just grates on me.
That's funny because I think he had the normal progression. It was coming down, and that hit at a certain time where he found a whole new subset of fans. Like people just discovered him for the second time or whatever, In
Tom's defense, my all-time favorite Tom Petty song is American Girl.
Yeah, I can see that.
Fucking love it. Just amazing. That one always gets pushed up in the volume scale in the house or in the car.
Yeah, as it should.
Or wherever.
And because I gave you my list beforehand, I couldn't stick to 10 songs just because I was kind of thinking, I kind of think, well, she's going to spend a little time like writing meal plans and stuff like this. Yeah. So she mentioned Dixie Chicks, Wide Open Spaces. So I threw that in just because I'm pretty damn sure that she's going to be like, they remember that song, and it is pretty good. And I guess they're just called the Chicks now. No Dixie. They dropped that.
Sure. It's a reasonable change.
Yeah, but we don't need to talk about it. It's just a matter of like in this subset of songs, I had to throw in Dixie Chicks, and that was a big song. And I actually listened to the lyrics more clearly than I ever have, and it's like, I could see driving away, leaving mom, and mom's like, this is a CD, you're grown up now, and definitely having a good cry for sure.
Yeah, that was a really cool part of the story that she was telling. That was great.
I know.
I loved it.
She wears her emotions on her sleeve. Like she had a little cry.
Yeah. Well, you made her cry. Let's just. I kept I geared back up a little bit with a cover song that I found years ago, but I knew in its original form by Etta James. And I love Jelly Black to death. I just think she is just so cool, and that her version of 7 Day Fool is awesome. Mm-hmm. It is a killer track. It's from another era, and she just makes it hum. It's just so beautifully done. That voice, I can listen to her voice all day. It's damn cool. But that song is a real energizer. I love it. I love the vibe. It really sends out some good stuff, and it makes you want to get going.
It does. I forgot that Jelly Black's been around for a bit.
Oh yeah.
Is she a Toronto girl?
I think she's Toronto based. I don't know if she's from Toronto necessarily, but certainly has been a big presence in Toronto.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I saw that video where she performed this during Gay Pride a couple years ago, and she's a strong woman. Yeah, she commands the stage. Like, I'm like, there's no need to look the other way.
It's pretty clear I have a type. Like really,
Exactly.
really. I mean, musically and otherwise, really cool, tough, strong women. Musically are just it.
Yeah, and she fits that bill for sure.
Yeah.
Hey, so I think the way I planned it, her work day is done. She's written three meal plans super fast, and she's getting ready to do CrossFit today. Because I was thinking when I make this, I'm like, how can you make a music for someone who goes on 5-hour bike rides? Here's
Yeah.
one song, repeat.
Exactly.
Yeah. But she was pretty clear that her coach whatever, he controls the music there, no one else bother, and or no one else should dare. And I thought, God, if she had that window of opportunity to grab control of the music at the CrossFit for like 4 or 5 songs, so I threw 4 or 5 in there, and I really like Chris Stapleton as a country guy, and I discovered him late, but everyone discovered him late because he wrote songs. He was one of those guys that we would have seen at the 5 spot in Nashville because he wrote songs for other people, performed rarely. He was pretty much just pumping out tunes for 10 years there, and then he wrote like the one song that got him attention, and it was off to the races. And I knew about him. I've heard a little bit, but I didn't at that time, especially listen to much country music. But I think at the Grammys, I think it was the Grammys, where he performed with Justin Timberlake, and Justin is a big promoter of Nashville since he's from there. And I don't know. I'm sure I don't know your feelings on Justin Timberlake, but I quite like him. He's an entertainer. He knows how to get things moving.
You might think that I have something against Justin Timberlake. I don't at all. I don't necessarily listen to a ton of his music, but I've seen the way he handles himself in external media. He doesn't mind taking the piss out of himself. He doesn't take himself too seriously, but he's by all measure a hell of a performer. And just because I don't have his music on high rotation, I'm certainly not going to be dismissive.
Yeah. And like I would have no problem. Like I would actually pay some money to see him live because he puts on a show. I guess you wouldn't. in your defense, though, he does not do small venues. It's a big production.
In my defense, I think I have an NSYNC T-shirt.
Yeah.
See, he was in NSYNC, wasn't he? Was he in NSYNC?
I get them confused.
What was his boy band? Oh no, he wasn't in Backstreet.
Okay, then it must have been NSYNC.
I think it was NSYNC. I may have to do some research, but I was chastised heavily for showing up to a record release show where we played with my NSYNC T-shirt. I took a lot of shit for that.
Come on.
I'm wearing it on our next show.
I hope you do. Enough of this corporate stuff.
Fuck that. Yeah, I know I did. I took a lot of heat for that. But yeah, well, so funny how that. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, it's but I think it's it's a nice little twist. It's a good little bit of irony for you to be wearing a NSYNC shirt and then throwing it down.
I'll be wearing it the next time we see each other in person. I can vow that. I will put that down in ink. Where did you? I mean that's JT obviously is going to fit into a specific genre with a lot of people, and that's sort of up tempo, fantastico stuff. I'm curious as to where in this bike ride portion of the day, where did you go after Justin Timberlake? Like where does one go?
So we just walked into the CrossFit gym and doing CrossFit. I'm not taking her on a bike ride today. She's having an off day. So I did say something by those two. And then that video is hilarious because that's one of the, that video is done in one take. And it is this huge space and it follows them up and down elevators, like crazy, one take, handheld camera, let's go. It's brilliant. Wow. So you have to see the video. But then once she has a little bit of trust, she's got the sound system, and then she goes Missy Elliott, and
Wow.
get your freak on, so everyone's going to be pretty motivated, and what I love is on this video, it starts with this Japanese guy doing the typical, I think he's like cross, got the two legs out, like that
Sumo.
crazy pose. But in Japanese, what does he say? He says, "From now, all together, go crazy, go for it, go for it." Come on, like that's the start of the song, and this is how we're going to treat the CrossFit workout. And
Okay.
and then I know she likes her rap, so "Big Pimpin'" by Jay-Z. So that's another one in this little set. But then the one that that I will be very honest, I've never been a big punk fan, but over the last maybe 2-3 years, I listen more of it. And since you started the show, I listen to a lot more now because of the fact that, you've walked me through it a little bit. And the Rach McBride episode, the two of you talking, I'm like, I got to get more into this and Scott. And I'm happy for that. But I went with some Southern California boys, Face to Face. And this is the accidental punk band that I listened to when I lived in the Gorge and Hood River for 2 summers. And I bought a CD. I thought it was something else entirely. I thought it was like the name of an album from another band, Face to Face. And I put it in and I'm like, what is this? And I absolutely loved it because, windsurfing is one thing, but when you're doing kiteboarding in the early days where it's just 2 lines and no chicken loop and there's zero control, you have to be jacked as soon as you hit that beach. Because as soon as the kite goes up, you're like, there's no easing into this run. Let's put it that way. And walk the walk. And this is her life, like working out. And especially now I've got her in the CrossFit gym. Like she better walk the walk. And I love the lyrics of the song. And the reason why I like this song, probably the best of many punk bands, is because it's probably punk light in that it isn't huge, like thrashing the guitars. I can actually hear the lyrics, which I love. A lot of punk, I can't quite discern the lyrics.
Right. And I think it's it's an acquired taste. I see exactly where you're going. Maybe when you bought it, you were thinking you're getting a Pete Townsend track from White City because he did Face to Face. Do you know that tune?
Oh, I do indeed, but yeah. I really don't know what I was thinking. And at that time, making a $20 purchase, committing to a CD when you're a bum living in your station wagon and windsurfing every day, that was a major commitment. I wasn't too pleased, and originally that I had just thrown away 20 American on a band that I had no idea, but it stuck with me like that. It's their self-titled album, Face to Face. This thing is their 3rd one, and I'm thrilled that I have it. It'll always be in heavy rotation, every mix for me. Do
you still have the copy you bought?
I do.
Fantastic.
I know. I have a lot of CDs. It's hilarious. Okay, I've covered the CrossFit game.
I jumped in with some Beasties, Open Letter to New York City, which going back to our punk discussion, it samples the awesome song Sonic Reducer. Which by the Dead Boys. And I mean, Sonic Reducer needs to be, in the top punk songs of all time. But moreover, I have a deep and abiding love for the Beasties, and I like that it takes you on a trip. It just takes you on a trip through the boroughs, and in my head, that was part of an extended sort of bike ride. You know where I'm going with this? I was thinking that with Elizabeth, doing her thing and covering ground and in her long rides, seeing different terrain, seeing different people, seeing different bits of, where she is. And Open Letter to New York City is a song about that. It takes you on a little trip through the boroughs, talks about some horrible things, references 9/11 and all the things that are fantastic and not fantastic about the boroughs.
Yeah, like it is the post 9/11 song. That's they referenced a bunch of stuff when they were making that song. But when you talk about biking through the city, the video, as you will see, I'm putting it up there. It's them skateboarding through all the boroughs. Like, it's fantastic. Like, it
Sure.
really is just tripping through the city. And I think when I was looking at this, I'm like, this should be the Chamber of Commerce should be showing the visitors this video. Like,
Well,
I mean, it's just, it talks about everything, and it's like them having a great time in 5 boroughs and seeing the differences. I love it. It's
for sure.
it's a great song, but I love the video. It's just, I don't know. As you know, I like videos way too much, and I don't understand that. But well, it's true. Because of the fact that when I look, especially getting your songs, so the songs I haven't picked, I'm like, oh man, I forgot that song, and I want to get back into it. So I pop up videos straight away to remember the guys in the band, guys, women, whomever, and but also I'm looking for live performances too. So if I can, I will always post a live performance, of the version of that song. Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I don't know. That's why I think I fall in love with videos again, because I'm trying to reacquaint myself with the song. And if anyone goes to our website, then it's like, I don't feel like clicking on Spotify and going somewhere else. It's like, I can just see the song and actually get a sense for the vibe and the fashion and some of the stupidity, but some of it's just magic. Like I said, that Justin Timberlake video, this Beastie Boy video, it takes you back to, and it's black and white and kind of grainy, and I don't know, it's just gritty. So I don't know. I dug it. I was so glad you popped this up, because I forgot about this song. Like, how many times do you listen to a song that doesn't get heavy rotation, and if you don't have the album, like I've heard it maybe 2 or 3 times, and now it's in my wheelhouse. Spotify loves me.
It does love you. It does love you.
And yeah.
Sorry. You sent me a little note that you enjoyed the. Speaking of live performances, you enjoyed that live performance of that you found of Seasons, Future Island.
Wow.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I've never been really glommed on to synth pop, really, in a big way. But that's a great tune,
Is it ever?
The pride of Baltimore, Maryland.
Pardon me?
Baltimore, Maryland.
Is he really?
Lots of friends. Yeah.
Yeah, and he talks about that performance on Letterman really made their career. And
yeah.
They're all a performer. I was thinking about this today, because I watched the video twice today. Once early this morning, and just when you said you're going to be late, I popped it in again to get in the mood.
Oh, good.
I absolutely love this video. But they're performers. But Jesus, he almost wanted to rip his heart out. Like, he was beating on. He's like, I don't know if he does that every performance. Like, he's got to have bruises, because that was, and you could see, like, when something, David Letterman used to see 5 acts a week, and he's pretty numb to them. And for him to jump out of the chair and he's like, I'll take more of that, like, he was jacked. And I always wonder, maybe you have seen, but I've never seen, I've only seen live performances that were intended to be live in front of people. I don't know what it'd be like to be a performer in a situation like that, where there's a studio audience that didn't come to see you, and there's only 50 of them.
I can't imagine how tough it would be to play one song and then walk away.
Yeah. Especially with fans who might be totally indifferent.
Yeah. I mean, a live show is, like anything else, like this mixtape we're putting together. It's about pace and timing and reaction. And this is really, harkens back to the days, and it must have been difficult for the Beatles. I don't know if they did it actually live off the floor, but certainly in the Ed Sullivan Theater, in the exact same theater that this went on, the Beatles having to get out there and, crank out one song, and they couldn't hear anything because of the screaming.
Yeah.
But as a band doing a late night show, I think just going and doing one song must be a major pain in the ass.
My God. Especially, I think they tape at 4 PM too. It's just such a weird hour for them,
Yeah. I think it would be tough, but in that instance, that was as genuine a live performance as you can get in a one song type of deal. I think they left it all out there. And that's not usually, I mean, you and I have seen a lot of wooden performances on these shows because they're just not ready to go.
No.
Or Letterman's backup band, takes on most of the legwork and just,
Yeah.
and fucks it up pretty badly. But not
Yeah.
in this case. It was great.
Yeah. Yeah.
I thought you might like that one.
Man, did I ever, and I forgot that song. Like, hey, like I said to you before, I don't even know if we have a viewer, but I love this show because I get to learn, I get to revisit music and learn music. And I revisited this one, but I forgot what this brought. I probably just heard it in passing, but this might be in my top 10. I absolutely love this song. Hey, I never mentioned the last stage in the CrossFit gym. The song I actually want to talk about was Little Bones by The Hip. So we're giving our friend Elizabeth a little more Canadian, and I would think with her bringing it and working out hard, that she should know The Hip. It would be a disservice, like, for someone to be a music fan to not, and I hope she would have seen them back in the day because they toured so much. And I have my doubts though, but Little Bones, a good little rocker, early days, which I don't know. I like The Hip in many of their iterations and generations, but Little Bones I love, and I love the as he loves to when he's live, just talking, rambling on. But this one, he often said this. He said, "Beauty can't save the world. Beauty can't save the world, but a kitty could. A fucking cat could save the world." And it's in reference to a Timothy Finley book, in which the Little Bones was the name of the cat in the book, and that's where the song came from.
Okay, didn't know that one.
I know. So it's from the Timothy Finley book, Little Bones. Or I don't know. I don't know the truth on that one. Maybe after they made the song, then he read the book and he just tied the two together. That probably makes more sense because it is talking about eating chicken bones. So I don't know. So,
well, I think that was Gord's strength, was bringing obscure references out of novels that he loved and recreating, giving them a new life, giving them an unconnected to the source, new interpretation and new love. Yeah, and I think that's he's certainly well known for that throughout his amazing body of work. But that's damn cool. Hey,
yeah,
I didn't know that this morning.
And so when she's left the CrossFit gym, she's now driving. I guess she's going to wind it down for the day. This is 2 workouts. Most athletes only do 2 workouts. So she mentioned that she does like her karaoke. She's jacked, and I think she's ready to put on a little Snoop Dogg, "Ain't No Fun," which is her favorite karaoke song.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd give that to her in the car because she's jacked. She's ready to throw it down. Just her in the car, karaoke, Snoop Dogg. And did you know?
As a test of your general knowledge.
In 2002, Snoop Dogg declared he was done with marijuana.
Oh,
he had some crazy epiphany, and obviously before he turned himself into Snoop Lion, because that was definitely making friends with the marijuana of Jamaica. And but we're pretty sure that didn't happen because by 2013, he believes he smokes 80 blunts a day. That's a lot. That's a lot of time.
That's a lot. Yeah. That's a lot. Because he's devoting a lot of time to coaching his kids' athletics and football careers. So I don't know if it's frowned upon for a coach or anybody in a coaching position to be out on the field just firing one up. It seems counterintuitive.
It seems counterintuitive, but what I'm more scared of the guy who's never smoked a joint, who's the prick of a coach. I'd rather like my coach,
no question. No question. I'm just talking about I'm just talking about, when you're there in any capacity, especially with your kid, it's best to have both feet on the ground.
It certainly is.
But now, to be fair, no one gave me any parenting awards. I'm yet to receive any parenting accolades. I think there's an 11th place ribbon in the drawer with my name on it. But
that being said, I think you knew your timing. You could pick your moments, I believe.
It's all about timing. My greatest Snoop Dogg story is a good buddy went on a trip through Ireland and bought a GPS thing in the car, because it's there's some tough roads out there, as I found out many times. But in the GPS package upgrade, you could have the narration by Snoop Dogg for an extra X number of dollars.
And I'm not even asking what X is. I'm like, yes.
Yeah. Immediately, this guy, who said, "Oh, I'm all over that." So the whole 2-week trip, he's got Snoop Dogg, telling him, in a roundabout or something, round and around she goes. Yeah, just like that. I mean, it's just like, it's just so good. Like and he recorded some of the instructions, or the driving instructions, on his phone, and I am absolutely dying. That is the greatest rental car upgrade I have ever heard in my life. Snoop Dogg's voice trying to get you through. Yeah,
we need to wrap up
like
this
that.
little episode, because I'm going straight to every GPS device I have right now.
oh no, there's examples of it on YouTube. It's so good. Please indulge.
Well, Elizabeth will watch this. Hopefully she'll be our one viewer, and she has about 18 Garmin devices. All those athletes do, so I'm pretty sure that maybe she could upgrade too.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that is the best.
And we're not against Garmin sponsoring the show.
We have just petitioned our first sponsor. God, how long will that take?
I have lots of Garmin products. I have boat-related navigation instruments. I have a Garmin-based watch outfit in case I get lost in my neighborhood. All these things.
Can we go anywhere from here? Where are you up to? You did Future Islands, which
yeah.
What else you got?
I went with Feel Good Inc. by Gorillaz. I mean, as far as a virtual band goes, I've always been drawn to the stuff that they pumped out, and anything to do with Mick Jones that he's involved with, I'm all over. But I think what drew me to Feel Good was it involved De La Soul, who that I love.
Yeah.
So that was great. And it's an old now. I mean, it's 18 years old. 2005.
I know. I remember seeing that video for the first time, going, "This is the coolest thing ever."
Yeah.
Just those characters are so cool, know. Just the way he sat was like on the end of a pier or over a cliff, like at the edge of a cliff, and the drummer was just like almost Muppet-like. It was so good.
Too good.
It's so good. And and it references it's a reference to our youth, because you wait for the message beep. It's the beginning of the chorus is like an answering machine. I love the way they package that.
The whole way that the song was layered is just, and it does what it says. It's a feel good song, and I thought that there may be a point in the day where Elizabeth is maybe a little tired, needs a little pickup, and needs a little feel good. So I went with that, followed by she mentioned that she enjoys a little Sinatra.
Good. We're good, because we're going in the same direction. We're getting home now. She's about to make dinner, maybe.
Okay, so what? Is that where you are? Okay, so what?
Oh yeah.
Okay, I'll tell you what. We're home now.
Yeah.
And she's cooking. I'm guessing she's not opening a can of SpaghettiOs.
Nutrition coach can't do that.
Nutrition coach.
Yeah.
So she's cooking. And so if she's prepping, What's her first song that's going on in the kitchen? What would you say that one is?
Okay, so okay, good, because I've got a few, but so she's prepping, so she still wants to keep the beat up, right? You got stuff to do. You can't, it's not sitting down, you're not mellowing out. So I went with the live performance of King of Pain, Police, which she
Nice.
loved that. Yeah, she saw them. Unfortunately, that video you can't actually share on a website, so I had to do the original one. And then Ain't No Man by the Abbott Brothers. She mentioned them, and I love the Abbott. Like, they've got such a good. But the one, and then we'll get to yours in this package of the same deal is See the World by Brett Dennen. And that she said that quickly. And I don't know if you caught that. She loves this guy. And remember, she said her favorite concert of all time with that she went to was Jason Mraz concert, Rhode Island. Her boyfriend at the time surprised her, VIP'd it out, and it was the best night ever. Brett Dennen was the co-act in that, maybe the one, I don't know who was headlining, probably Jason. But this guy grew up in the same area where she lives, or maybe just California, but I'm going to say it's the same area. And he was homeschooled, outdoorsy, and super chill guy, and then started to get into music, started writing. But on his Wikipedia page, it says that Brett has a fondness for briny things because his dad was a professional pickler.
Well, there you go.
The nutritionist is always worried about gut health. So, one of her favorite singer-songwriters is big into pickles. So I think they have that connection.
Okay.
And I really like to reach for connections, as you know. But she also said she loves Van Morrison. Okay. And so the connection with Brett Dennen and Van Morrison is that he loved Joni Mitchell, Cat Stevens, Van Morrison. So his name of his boy, I think he has a few kids, but the name of his boy is Cat Van Dennen. His first name is Cat, second name Van, and the surname Dennen. And it was going to be a boy or girl either way. So he thought girl would go with Cat, but since it's a boy, he uses the middle name. And he said he can use Cat if he wants. It's up to him.
Wow.
Yeah.
I wonder what Kat Von D, my tattooed girlfriend, would think about that. Do you know Kat Von D?
I don't know Kat Von D.
Okay, you have to look that one up. It's one of my another one of my favorites. The Brett Dennen thing, yeah. I mean, I had this. He spent a lot of time touring with Colby Calais.
Okay.
And Jason Mraz and that sort of friendship, and the music's very much along the same vibe. They keep it all true, and that trio for I think two tours were sort of a trio that were sliding back and forth with acts, backing up John Mayer.
Okay.
Connection there with that touring road show. And then Jason Mraz was played in Toronto a bunch of times in support of Chantal Creviazzi.
Oh, I love Chantal.
Yeah, so that was a big, probably a neighbor of yours, I think. Is Chantal on the island, or she? No, she's Toronto. Sorry.
Yeah, because she's with Rain, right? So I think
I was thinking of Sarah McLachlan.
Yeah.
I don't know why I get my Canadian women superstars mixed up, but
yeah, Sarah just threw a big dinner. Yeah, a friend of mine catered it. It was very nice. Didn't get the invite. All right. Thank you for that, because I and the name of the song "See the World," and we mentioned that she. As she said, she can't wait to travel again, and neither can I. So it just all made sense. That's for sure. Just got to get out of here.
Yeah, well, I have you booked for mid-September, so
yes, that will be the first journey.
That
Okay,
probably
so
isn't. That probably is not where you want to go. Okay, here's where I was going.
you're in
Even when you're prepping dinner, you know,
Yeah.
prepping dinner, and dinner is such a feel good thing, and it's almost nostalgic. I think when I cook, you go back to the things you're good at, the things you love, and that's why I went with Sinatra's It Was a Very Good Year, because it's pure nostalgia. And the reason I picked that song, it was originally recorded by the Kingston Trio and didn't work out. And then Sinatra grabbed hold, and it was among his biggest hits.
Yeah,
for sure. But the lyrics, and there's a great lyric in it that goes, "Blue-blooded girls of independent needs." I mean, awesomeness.
Yeah.
I mean that tells a story.
Mm-hmm.
So our lovely guest, being a powerful and clearly independent woman, I thought that would be just a fun reference. But it's a great song.
It is a great song.
If she likes Sinatra, it's a song that is in his absolute wheelhouse. He's very deliberate. It's not a fast-paced song. It's super slow, and it almost hurts. But it's pure nostalgia. It's about.
And you will love this, because the video that I selected for this is the making of that. So it's like a 10-minute video of him in there with the orchestra, and they're going back and forth and building it. It's like, I like this, don't like that. What I love is there's so many shots of him at the mic, the stand in front of him, and you can see some players in the background. And but he's typical, coffee in one hand, Siggy in the right.
Oh yeah.
But what I love is that it's right at the start, and he's singing, obviously not long ago stopped drinking, or maybe that coffee cup is got some whiskey in it, and he stumbles over one part, or it's just a scratchy throat, and he's like, God, I feel like I got a shot glass in the throat still. I'm like, oh my God. And he's being very genuine. It's like, is there a shot glass actually in my throat?
I was lucky enough to see Sinatra twice, and that was awesome.
Where?
76 Maple Leaf Gardens, 78 at CNE.
Okay. I was wondering if you actually got so lucky to see him in a bluesy, like a smoky place, but
yeah, no, that would have been my dad's era for sure. My dad's remains at 87, just a massive. I mean, if we ever get around to talking about it, if I hear Sinatra, that is something that connects me to my house growing up for sure. But he was still delivering in the late 70s, with his band. I think Nelson Riddle was still with him at that time, if I'm not mistaken. Anyway, superb band, superb voice. But that song, I thought, it's not making you jump around the kitchen, but you got to slow it down if you're going to use a good knife.
Oh, that's funny. You haven't worked in a commercial kitchen, my friend. It is punk rock, and we're working that knife as fast as possible.
Do you think for 1 second I could stand the heat of a commercial kitchen? I can't even make dinner for 4 on a regular basis without losing my shit. So,
oh my God, it is tough love in this summertime with that heat wave we just had. That is extremely tough love.
I'll bet.
Yeah. But I made a mistake there. I said, I wish you would have seen him in a smoky bar. It's like, I bet you in 1976, Maple Leaf Gardens was plenty smoky.
It was pretty smoky. Absolutely. I wonder if people were still smoking in 76. I would say no, because I don't remember that. But I remember Beach Boys in 75 or 76. I went, and full on cigarettes. I mean, and splits, of course. But I mean, this was just, couldn't even see the stage. It's just people were just smoking butts.
Yeah, I remember all my early concerts at London Gardens General Admission. We're all smoking, like, rotate cigarettes.
Yeah.
Various.
Yeah. Whatever.
So I kept with that because I remembered I definitely latched on to when she said, like Frank Sinatra when she's cooking, but I went Canadiana. So I gave her
Okay.
the Frank Sinatra of Canada, our friend Michael Bublé. And he does, and this is paying homage, and he sings a little medley. Geez Louise. Oh, Fly Me to the Moon. You're nobody till somebody loves you. And it's a live performance. And at the start, he says, I didn't do this on my own. I stand on the shoulders of others and of the greats. And, our friend, Mr. Fabry, when he lived in Vancouver, as a restaurant guy, my nights off were Sundays and Mondays. I have seen Michael Bublé probably 80 times. We would go to Babalu, which was, it's now an Irish pub, but it's on Granville Strip. And he held court there every Sunday and Monday. And that's how he got his start. And it was hilarious because the top floor, like he was down in the basement. And it was obviously smoky at the time. And there you'd be kind of dancing, you'd be like trying to pick people up, you'd be doing shots. And here's this guy kind of like walking in the dance floor sometimes just at the back of the stage. I didn't know what to make of him. He wasn't Michael Boot, like, he was nobody, just this guy who had a gig on Sunday, Mondays, doing his thing, honing his craft. And I had no idea. And you knew he was good. And then, it was like 2 years. And I do remember, because it was a big industry, everyone who was going to go on a Sunday, Monday went to Babalu's. And it got more popular and more popular. And then it was mostly you went guaranteed because good looking women were guaranteed to be there. They were there for him. And then you're like, okay, well, this is perfect territory here.
Right.
And then the most recent time I had an interaction with Michael Bublé was in the restaurant. And these are the Bradley Cooper days, because Bradley Cooper came into, I think, when we opened Nook 12 years ago, he was shooting the A-Team. And he used to come in there like 4 or 5 times a week with his girl, Renee, at the time. And they would sit at the bar. And he was a name, but this was his first starring role being on the A-Team. And it was a big deal. And so he found Nook, as a lot of Hollywood people did. That first year was hilarious. We were so well known. About 3 years later, he came back. He had just shot Sniper, and they had to do some green screen stuff. Like it was kind of mistake stuff. So they had to come to Vancouver, a lot of the cast with Clint Eastwood. So, the agents phone up and we don't take reservations. And I'm like, look, same rules as always, like get in when he gets in. And so we put them at our neighboring restaurant, Tavla, which back door is kind of, it's an L shape. And so here you have Bradley Cooper, Clint Eastwood, and Michael Bublé somehow hooks up with them. And they're at Tavla on the patio, kind of away from people, but they're kind of forefront, but at the same time, no one's bugging them. But Bublé was in the drinking days. So he was actually going up to tables, taking selfies, eating off people's plates, from what I understand, and working the room. They get into Nook at this time when we finally have space, and I get them to the back door, put them in the back corner, and no one bugs them. So you have Bradley Cooper and Clint Eastwood sitting side by side, and Bradley Cooper is just like a sponge, just like right beside Clint, and they're just talking. People are coming up, getting pictures taken with Michael Bublé. And then when everyone leaves, have a good chat with Clint. And of course, Bradley, since I've known him for a number of years now. And then everyone leaves, their car pulls up outside. And I see the 2 girls at the front door. I'm like, did you say anything? And they said, oh, we didn't know what to say. So nervous. He's so good looking. I'm like, what are you talking about? They said, Michael Bublé. I'm like, did you see Clint Eastwood? You're like, and the one girl's like, to her other friend, she's like, I told you that was him. And the other girl says, but he was just wearing this old man sweater and those Docker shoes. I'm like, that's what old men wear, you moron. No one noticed Bradley Cooper and Clint Eastwood were in the room. Wow. Michael Bublé ran interference all night long. So there we go, my Michael Bublé story.
There you go.
I've got a long history with him, like 25 years.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Well,
okay, show's over.
he still own a hockey team out west?
I think he does. I think he
Yeah.
does a lot of things. Yeah, and you know what's
Yeah.
also get back to him, the way he got into singing in bars and stuff. His dad was his uncle was a plumber, and the deal was his uncle would fix like hot water stuff and tanks and other stuff. And when it was restaurants and clubs, he would say, "Okay, here's my fee, but here's my different fee if you let my nephew Michael play in the bar."
Wow, really?
His uncle brokered the deals and got him going. And
I don't have an uncle like that.
I know. And somehow he got to Toronto, and then who was it that saw him? Michael Mulrooney saw him, so he sang at Mulrooney's daughter's wedding, and David Foster was at that wedding, and then it all began.
Wow.
Yeah. So there you go. Everything to know about Michael Bublé. Who knew I knew so much about Michael Bublé?
There you go. You are the source.
Shall we wake the listeners up and get to your song now?
Yeah. Here's one. When art folk music goes fucking berserk, you get July Talk. And Push and Pull is a great, not only a great song, it's a perfect example of the genre that July Talk is carved out. I mean, when I first heard them years ago, it sounded to me like a very angry Tom Waits was having a domestic dispute with a beautiful chanteuse.
No kidding, and her voice is beautiful.
Oh, and it cuts through a mix like no other, allowing the allowing the buzzsaw of the gravel truck unloading to create this amazing musical texture. I absolutely love this band, and this is where I went for not one, not two, but three Canadian acts in a row to try and see what if we can fly the flag down south of the border. And I tied that one in after to Metric's "Give Me Sympathy," which I mean, Emily Haynes. They have been Metric in various incarnations have been slugging it out for 23, 24 years. And I think that they finally started to get their due maybe 4 or 5 years ago, but again, the way that they build their songs and build the foundation of how they present their music is fantastic. I'm a huge fan, obviously a big fan of Canadian music. I think that proves out in the song list I put together. But this is a unique band that has paid their dues over and over and over again, and what is most important to me is their live show, and it is absolutely fantastic.
Well, they've warmed up for the Rolling Stones in Madison Square Garden.
Yeah, it's my only criticism of their live show is they love to illuminate the crowd. Okay. Yeah, that's sobering. Which and they illuminate it with the light and power of the sun. And it can and they don't give you any warning. See, you reach an age, Brad. Yeah. No, we're there to be be else. No need to shine light on this, Exactly. But seriously. But can't go wrong with Metric. I'm just do you know where the song comes from, the title? No. The line in the song is who would you rather be, the Beatles or the Rolling Stones? Yeah. And they put that in there, but their actual real answer after spending some time with the Rolling Stones, the answer that one of the individuals in the band gives is so who would you rather be, the Beatles or the Rolling Stones? And the answer is, well, one's dead and the other one's corporate, so no thanks. Okay.
So it comes from Give Me
That's it.
Shelter and
Yeah,
Sympathy for the
well,
Devil. Yeah. So,
I assume that there was something going on there. I mean, you, you, the gun has to be loaded if you're going to come out with a song title like that.
absolutely.
Yeah. You know.
I'm only going to talk like I got the ending. Like I've got her going to bed. So do you have anything before we tuck her in?
Absolutely. I have two more.
Okay.
Moving forward with my third CanCon is Greatest Enemy Strombellas, which is, I don't know, that could be having an herbal tea type of, I think that could slow you down a little bit. Lindsay, Ontario band.
Okay. Yeah.
Terrific. And again, just great songwriting. And what I wrapped it up with, and I don't know if this is a great one to wrap it up with. It's certainly not something you're going to tuck yourself into bed with, but Genghis Khan,
Mike
Snow.
Snow. Yeah. I forgot about this band.
And again, like synth pop, I'm not a huge fan of Swedish pop acts, but in terms of if you're going to write an indictment about a long-term relationship, a long-distance relationship, you can't go wrong with comparing yourself to Genghis Khan. I think it's fun, it's poppy, and it's a funny song. It's
a hilarious song.
Yeah. I mean,
yeah. Please, I've not been one to fool around with other people, but that's definitely not going to happen now. Did you know that 8% of men in Asia are descendants of Genghis Khan?
8
of men presently are descendant from that man.
Really?
He did a lot of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, and 8% is a lot of people.
I don't know if that percentage growth goes higher or lower as time goes on. Like, did it start at 20? I have no idea how I'm no statistician. I'm not sure if it gets bigger or smaller, but geez Louise. To this day, to have 8% have a little Genghis Khan in them.
So how does that look at the 23andMe office in Asia? It's like, oh fuck, here's another Khan. Oh, I got my 23andMe kit back.
No. By the way, you own a yurt in Mongolia.
I'm a Khan.
Wow.
Like, honest to God, literally 92% of the 23andMe envelopes, they can go somewhere else, but they probably have a whole office where they're just pumping out. They have the same answer. Well,
I think it's good marketing for 23andMe because they say, before you hook up, I think the two of you should get a DNA test because we don't want.
Exactly. The odds are unfortunately very high.
I know you guys did well online dating, but it's not wise to go any further.
I'm afraid we have a problem.
But you're a go-getter. Good for you.
You are a go-getter. You're a real firecracker, a self-starter.
So thanks, Mike Snow, for introducing us to our Genghis Khan chat.
Yeah, that's an interesting. I had no idea about the 8% of the Asian population is direct descendants of Genghis Khan.
Yeah. So there's two things you learned today.
I learned more than two.
I can't remember the first thing you learned, but you definitely, this is the second one. Yeah.
Oh no, I learned all kinds of things.
So I've said it's time for you to go to sleep now, Elizabeth.
Yep.
And Nick Drake, One of These Things, just such a beautiful song. I first heard this and I don't know, you like things and you don't want to analyze it too much. I love the film Garden State by Zach Braff. I thought it was killer. It was just such a good, fun story. It was like this guy finding his way, and I don't know, his messed up friends and chasing this girl who was all messed up, and I don't know, it was fun. But the soundtrack at the time I thought was pretty good, and this song was on that soundtrack, and it was at a really good part of the film, and I've always remembered it. And every time I hear it, I think of that film. I'm like, I like that film way too much, you know? So, and who was the kid? What's the most popular science show that was just ended?
Bill Nye?
No, but like commercials on NBC or something like that. Like these geeks, like it's not Freaks and Geeks, but you know, well after in any event, that guy that was the lead of the show, Sidney Sheldon is the spin-off of that show.
Yeah, Sheldon Cooper. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Big Bang
Sheldon
Theory.
Cooper, Big Bang Theory. So the lead off that, he had a very, very, very small role in Garden State. I always remember that. He was, he was in the kitchen, and he spoke, I think he spoke some weird Star Wars language. So he was always nerdy in those roles right from the get-go. And I always remember that. But yeah, it was a nice little role.
He's been Gilligan, but unlike Gilligan, who didn't get a cut of the show moving forward, I think Jim Parsons is his name.
Yes.
Jim Parsons will be getting hand cramps from endorsing checks for the rest of his life from that program.
God.
And
about nailing it. Yeah.
I don't know about the deal, but I'm guessing that Toronto's own Bare Naked Ladies, who wrote the theme song and performed the theme song to the show.
Yeah.
If they ran that deal the right way, they're
you don't want the one-time payment.
No, but imagine a show that lasted 10 or 11 seasons, I'm not sure which, that will be in reruns forever. I mean, people talk about Seinfeld, they talk about others with the same legs. These shows will forever be on television. But this one in particular, could you imagine? I mean, with the right deal. And I mean, the stars, you know.
The stars are then producers, like after season 3, like they're getting it 4 ways. It's just
exactly.
twisted.
Yeah.
Oh my
and
God.
all the power to them. I don't watch a lot of that show, but kind of being a geek, it appeals to me.
Yeah.
I wasn't smart enough to be a science geek. just a geek.
But you know, maybe Bare Naked Ladies did write the good deal and went for the royalty check, and there's a reason why sometimes they're caught in New York City doing blow and
I think he left.
So he's still part of the deal though, I think. And then I gave her another song. She's probably falling asleep. Orange Sky by Alexi Murdoch. And
that's a
London Guy. Pick. Oh, okay. And it's just a beautiful song. It's something I want to go to sleep with. And what I didn't know, the guy in like 15 or so years, he's only put out 2 albums, but he's connected like crazy because the video that I put up, Pete Townsend is on stage and plays backup guitar just for fun.
Wow.
On this song. Yeah. Like, so, you know, you kind of wonder, the guy's only had 2 albums. He's had a few good songs. I don't know if he's had many good songs, but when you see Pete Townsend saying, "Can I play some backup?" You know, like he must know something or someone.
You know, I wonder if he's just a session guy who kicked off a couple great records. It's hard to say, you know.
Yeah. So, anyways, I don't know. I think we gave her. I like this list, and I like the fact we both went a little Canadiano on it because the fact that she loves music, so I'm pretty sure she'll dig it.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I hope because for my hope, I might get an angry letter. We might get a very angry letter to the Roark Mix.
Well, at least someone watched.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right. You know, there really is no bad publicity. I mean, even if it results in a terse letter.
Absolutely. So I want every viewer out there to write us a nasty letter so I can count the number of viewers.
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice.
All right, my friend.
Thanks for your time.
All right. Well, thanks for joining us. And next week, I think we have Travis on next week. So So yeah, get out there and go buy some music at your favorite record store, and we'll see you next week.